What's going on, guys? This is Mark and Jules again, and this is actually a send-off video for Jules, because he will actually be going to a
Job
Corps in Treasure Island, which, in case you guys don't know, that's in San Francisco, on this Monday. Is that correct?
Yeah.
On this Monday. So yeah, this is gonna be the last video that I do with him for a while. But yeah, so this little send-off video, I thought that we were talking yesterday, and I thought that we would do it on a topic that both of us are interested in.
Yeah, this is one that's gonna be about what's the deal with all the purists.
Because the thing is, because I was looking up, because a lot of people, I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything's video on a GX and 5Ds, the things that you might have missed, which, by the way, I'll link below. They're really good videos, by the way. Great job, Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, if you're watching this. Great content, keep up the great work. And the problem I have isn't with him. The problem is that, because his videos got me thinking of, okay, well, what do some people have to say about the dub versus the sub? And I looked up GX dub reviews, and a lot. Well, actually no, it wasn't even GX. It was Duel Monsters. It was the original Duel Monsters, and people were basically saying that, oh, Dan Green is a horrible Yami. All the character voice actors are horrible. The edits that the censorship that they do is terrible. Is terrible and stuff like that, and at the end of the day, I basically said this to because like I said, we were talking about it yesterday, and I actually showed him it on my phone. Let me just see if I can search it up again really quickly. But essentially, basically that they were just trashing the 4Kids dub and stuff like that, and I was talking with him about it, and the thing is, I compared it to Power Rangers. Because if you think about it, okay, Power Rangers is also a Japanese product, in case any of you guys don't know. It's an adaptation of Super Sentai, which is basically the same thing as a Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of, like, the sub-form. But Power Rangers is the Americanized version of Super Sentai. The English dubs of anime are the Americanized versions of Japanese anime. There are two different continuities here.
I know, and people take it too far and say, oh, the dub is bad because it's not the original dub. Compared
to the original. I mean, this brings up our whole issue. It kind of goes all the way back around with that issue that we had a couple of months ago with a certain somebody. I'm not going to name him. I'm not going to name them. But it kind of harkens back to that, in that you've got a cohesive whole that everyone enjoys, that everyone loves, and yet you have these super tough people that come in and just bash people over the head with a hammer for not agreeing with their standpoint. I mean that would be the equivalent of me saying that, because we both really like Pokemon. That's like me saying, oh, the Indigo League is trash. It's trash regardless of whether or not it's in the original form.
Yeah, and I could take that highly offensive, or I can just explain to him my reasoning why I like it, and like try to come to a reasonable and civil conclusion. Because,
I mean, this whole thing, in my opinion, is, I think BYG Igami put it best. In one of his latest videos, he says that, I think he said something along the lines of, whether you like it subbed or dubbed, it doesn't matter. You have the right to bring up your opinion, but don't go...
I'm attacking people.
Yeah, don't go attacking people just because they don't believe you. I mean, for example, again, I could really like the later seasons of Pokemon, and he might not. And he might not, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go attack him saying, "Oh, the newer ones are just dumb. All the Pokemon designs are stupid. The original was better because it was because it came first, and all the new ones are just copying it." No, I'll be like, okay, I might not agree with it, but hey, you're right. It's your right to like what you like. I'm not. It's not my place to judge you on it.
because at the end of the day, there is no definitive answer as to which version is better, and honestly, in my opinion, you shouldn't even be asking that question.
I know.
You should just enjoy it for what it is, and because here's the thing. We live in a world now where it is extremely possible to go onto a site like, say for example, kissanime.net, and you can search up Dragon Ball or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever the heck you're searching for, and you can watch it both in its original subbed version and the dubbed version. We are not limited to only being able to see one of them anymore. You can see practically everything now online, regardless of whether or not it's in Japanese.
Yeah, and if you don't want to watch the dub, search up the sub. Or if you don't want to watch the sub, just watch the dub. It doesn't matter. Don't have to fight each other to the death over it.
The thing is, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Freedom of speech and all that.
Well, apparently on the internet,
but
that freedom doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Freedom of speech, only if you agree with what I'm saying. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, then free speech is completely out the window on the internet.
Yeah, basically. So you really can't say anything on the internet without getting attacked for it.
And I personally don't agree with that stance. I think that everyone should be entitled to their own opinion on stuff, and it's not fair. It's not a fair justification for why free speech should be out the window. I mean, granted, free speech shouldn't be out the window, period. But it's like, I mean, look, if you enjoy the sub more than the dub, that's fine. That's cool. That's fine, that's cool. Go watch the subbed version then. But if you also like the dubbed version, like let's say for example, I mean, for me, I really like both the subbed and dubbed versions of Duel Monsters and GX. But because I grew up with the dub, my review series mainly tackles the dub. I only tackle the subbed version if there's a differing storyline. Or if they handle a scene differently or something like that. And, because, I mean, again, getting back to the issue that we had, I mean, that's kind of why I left the Dragon Ball community in the first place, was because the community was so oversaturated with purists that there was no way for me to get my feet off the ground, to get my channel off the ground being a Dragon Ball YouTuber.
Yeah, so and it's come to my conclusion that every anime in existence is going to contain purists, and people who like the dub aren't going to be able to enjoy their favorite anime without being attacked by a purist on the internet saying, "Oh, the dub is terrible," or the original is better, and blah blah blah. Like, just leave them alone. It doesn't matter if it's dubbed or sub. Just enjoy it.
I mean, because, again, okay, that would be like if, let's say that he started his own channel and he reviewed Pokemon. Because, like I said before, we both really love Pokemon. And let's just say that he started doing a review series like I am on the Indigo League, or X and Y, or Diamond and Pearl, or whatever, or whichever series he wanted to. I mean, it wouldn't really matter which version he went off of. They're both the same, they're just in different languages. And again, like I said, the way the internet works nowadays is you can go onto a site like Kiss Anime, type in Pokemon, and it will have the dub of every season, well, up to this point anyway, and the subbed version of every season in the original format. Does that mean that it'll omit the edits? Well, that's kind of hard to say, because I've watched a few episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh on there, and it seems like that they left the edits mostly out of the dubbed version, which I was really surprised by. But yeah, so purists, they aren't really, I mean, it's good to have an opinion on something, but there is such a thing as taking it too far, and that in my opinion is what purism is.
Yeah, they they peers like to take it to an extreme, but people who don't really care if it's sub or dub will just take it easy. I mean, if you're talking about like Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu Yu Hakusho,
Digimon,
Naruto, Bleach, One Piece,
Dragon Ball,
any of those, and someone else who also is a fan of that and who don't care if it's dubbed or sub, they'll chat along with you and be like, "Hey, you like that anime too? So do I."
We can have a discussion about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Like, and then you can develop you could just make a new friend. But if a peer overhears you, or like, this is much better as the sub's more. I mean, yeah, the original dub is more better. Like, oh. Why are you calling them by their American names? You should call them by their original Japanese names. That's how they.
I don't know about you guys, but the Japanese names for me, because if you guys remember, back when I covered the Dungeon Dice Monsters stuff and Duel Monsters, I had a really hard time pronouncing the Japanese names. That was mostly because I hadn't seen the subbed version. But even if I had seen the subbed version, I still probably wouldn't be able to pronounce them.
Yeah, a lot of Japanese names can be very difficult for some people to pronounce.
I mean, no offense to the Japanese, but I mean that's just how it is to Americans.
Yeah,
to Americans, I mean different dialects, different pronunciations.
Yeah, and a lot of people may not be able to pronounce Japanese names, so they feel more comfortable using the American names,
like
maybe
Joey, Taya,
Tristan, any like those.
Yeah.
And if you can pronounce the Japanese names, fine, go ahead.
Good for you. Go on ahead and do it.
If you want to. If you can't and you're more comfortable using the American names, that's
go
fine
dub.
too.
Then use the dub names.
It doesn't.
I mean, you're still talking about the same characters. It's not like I'll try not to butcher it here. It's not like Jolanchu and Joey Wheeler are two different characters. They're the same character, just with a different name.
Or Honda and Tristan.
Why do I have a feeling that's where the Honda car brand came from?
Probably. But
Tristan, yay!
Yeah, but Tristan Taylor and Honda are not two different characters. They're the same characters with two different names. It doesn't matter which one you use. You're still talking about the same character.
Or Judah Yuki and Jaden Yuki. They're both Jaden. They're both Jaden. They just have different names. It's not like. It's like. I mean, honestly, I could go on about this for a while, but I'm not going to for your guys' sake.
Or mine.
But yeah. So
let's just all agree that we like what we like and we shouldn't kill each other over it.
Freedom of expression and freedom of speech should stay protected. And it's clearly evident to me with all the purists out in the Dragon Ball community and someone in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, although granted they aren't online, like on YouTube. At least not yet, although now watch, now that I say that, there are going to be tons of purists in the community now, but I mean, we'll see what happens, but I mean, because the thing is, it's like, okay, let me give you guys an example. There's a new Yu-Gi-Oh series coming out called Yu-Gi-Oh! V-Reigns, I think it is.
Yeah,
and
V-Reigns.
The Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything has made some really good content promoting the series, which by the way, Dylan, if you're watching this, great job again. And basically, there hasn't been an Americanized version announced yet, and so as such, we've been having to go off of the Japanese stuff, which is fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, it's giving us a little taste of what's to come. And I've been watching another YouTuber called TGI Anime.
Really good content. Like, his character profiles are some of the best videos I've ever seen on YouTube in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
And his Yu-Gi-Oh trivias are impressive too. I'm actually subscribed to him. I really love his videos. They're really good.
The thing is, we've both learned stuff from him that we never would have.
Actually, I was the one who introduced him to you.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know. But after watching him, I see your point, because we learned stuff from this guy that we never would have known in the anime or manga. I mean, well, I won't give anything away, but I'll leave TGI Anime's YouTube link down below as well. so that you guys can go and check him out.
Yeah. So,
Along with BYG, I got it. So,
yeah. Anyway, so and it's thanks to him that I learned a lot more of Yu-Gi-Oh than I normally did just by watching the show. And he's not a purist either. And he's been telling me a lot about V-Reigns, and from what he says, V-Reigns is going to be based on teaching kids or anyone else to try new things, because the main protagonist of the new season is going to be a complete novice duelist who's never dueled before.
I mean, because because if they do this right, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had this thing where it has callbacks to previous seasons. Like with GX, which Jules and I are watching now currently.
It had callbacks to original Duel Monsters, like having certain characters reappear or using little clips and snippets of the previous season,
or using a certain somebody's deck to be dueled against or something like that. But again, I'm not going to give anything away. But yeah, there are little things like that, and if they continue that with V-Reigns, I have a suggestion for them. They should make that amateur duelist story tie in with Joey's from Duel Monsters, because if you guys remember from Duel Monsters, Joey started out as a complete amateur. Look at him in Duelist Kingdom. He started out as a complete amateur, not even knowing the first thing about the game. But through seeing Yugi duel in Duelist Kingdom and through all their
practicing and training,
he grows into a would-be champion. I mean, think about it. He goes from being a complete amateur to being the runner-up in the Duelist Kingdom tournament.
Yes, and he's the third top highest duelist under Yugi and Kaiba.
And on top of that, in the Wink and the Dragons arc, although granted I've heard that's filler, but still it's a testament to his character. He is also one of the legendary duelists. You don't see Merrick getting that treatment.
I know, even though Merrick was in the tournament, he doesn't get the treatment of being a legendary duelist, because, well, no one really heard of him. No one heard of Joey, but he made a name for himself. And in V-Reigns, the new protagonist will too, because he's never dueled at all. He knows what duel monsters are, but he's never dueled, so this will be his first time, and we'll see how well he does for a beginner.
One thing that I'm wondering though is okay, so Jules and I are going to go into a discussion now as to what we want to see in V-Reigns, since it's actually on the cups right now, in terms of development. But one thing that I really want to see though is, like I mentioned before, I want to see callbacks to previous seasons. But one thing that they could really do that they haven't actually done before, granted, I don't know how. Did they say did they say where V-Reigns takes place?
Not
like in terms of the timeline.
Not exactly. Or not that I remember though.
But I mean, because okay, I'm willing to assume that because of the timeline placement of 5Ds, because 5Ds takes place, I believe, 15 years after GX.
Yeah.
And
talking of Zexal, that should take some time. Should take about some time after 5Ds, and Arc V should take some time. Should take place somewhere after Zexal.
But the thing is, one thing that I really want to see though is, now I don't, again, not knowing the timeline placement is kind of a problem, but in terms of what I want. But one thing that I really want to see though would be, maybe one of the surviving cast members comes in, like maybe the perfect candidate would be Mokuba.
Yeah.
Because Mokuba's the youngest out of all of them. He's like what, like 9, 10, something like that?
Yeah, and see him come back, and he's older, he's grown, matured, maybe he could become a duelist himself.
But not only that, but I mean, he was with the group whenever they were in danger. Maybe he could impart some wisdom onto the new duelist. Tell the new duelist stories about what happened in Mokuba's tenure,
and give them tips on how to not get kidnapped.
And but also I mean, maybe they could use clips from Duel Monsters to illustrate that point. I mean, TV Tokyo does still own the rights to all of that footage footage. So it's not like they would be infringing on copyright by bringing back some old footage.
That's true, and they can really expand on it, giving the new protagonist some tips on how Yugi dueled, how Kaiba telling him like how they dueled and how well they did. Maybe give him a boost of confidence when he's feeling at his lowest.
Or here's an idea, maybe Kaiba on his deathbed, it could be that maybe he gave Mokuba one of his Blue Eyes White Dragons,
or all three of them,
or something like that, and he gives the new duelist the 3 Blue Eyes. That would be a really nice parallel to what Yugi did with Jaden.
Yeah, or like Joey could give his Flame Swordsman to one of the other kids. Like,
well, I mean, assuming he's still alive.
Yeah, but still, like, yeah, maybe like Kaiba can pass on his 3 Blue Eyes to Mokuba, and Mokuba can pass them on to the new protagonist, and like keep the tradition of Blue Eyes White Dragon alive through new hands,
through new blood.
Yeah, and then the new protagonist can pass them on to another upcoming duelist,
like when their time comes.
Yeah, like Yugi did, like passing the torch to the next king of games.
Sorry. What do you want to see in V-Rines?
I want to see what the new duels are gonna look like. I want to see how the characters are gonna develop, how the story's gonna be, and I want to kind of see what kind of monster cards they're gonna use.
One thing I'm kind of worried about though is the art direction, because I mean, granted, the only thing that we've seen is that screenshot of the main guy for V-Rines. I can't seem to remember his name off the top of my head. I think it's some Yakashi or something like that.
So it's the U thing going on there.
Something like that.
You know, like Yugi,
Yusei, Yuma, Yubel,
Yuya.
Yeah, Yuya. Yuya Hakusho. But anyway, but I mean, because one thing I'm worried about though is the art direction. Because if this is anything like Zexal or Arc V, although granted I haven't seen as much of Arc V as I have of Zexal, unfortunately, but the problem that I have with Zexal, one of the main problems, aside from the lackluster character development and aside from the terrible lack of callbacks to past seasons or series in this case, would probably be because Zexal was just too bright.
Yeah,
it was just too bright and colorful, and it never took itself seriously.
Yeah, it was too flashy, and
I mean, it was basically an entire Duel Monsters series, but centered around
small children.
But centered around Duelist Kingdom, but not even the duel between Yugi and Pegasus or Yugi and Joey. The tournament itself. It was basically a series centered around the Duelist Kingdom tournament. But without any climax or anything like that.
Yeah, and
without any stakes.
Yeah, and I watched some episodes of Arc V. I couldn't really get into it because I know it could have gotten better along the line, but I just couldn't stick around to see.
Plus, also apparently, I think 4Kids is still dubbing it, right?
I think so.
But I've looked on sites, and apparently they have not dubbed episode 100 yet, and the sub version is already at like episode 130 or something like that.
Anyway, yeah. In the beginning, you see Yuya like dueling one of the teachers at the school he attends to try to persuade or get new students willing to join, but Yuya is making a complete fool out of himself, and his deck is just ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong, that could have worked. I know. But they took it the wrong way. I know his character is mainly centered around being a clown. He's literally being a clown. He's trying to get people to laugh. His deck is focused mainly around circus-themed monsters. I mean, judging by what you're saying, he kind of sounds like Joey or Tristan, but without any of the emotional baggage or without any lesson learning. And and without all the cool looking cards. Anyways,
The Time Wizard.
anyway,
I wanted that card so badly.
Anyway, he starts out by doing a little song and number dance against one of the teachers when he should be taking the duel seriously if he wants to recruit new students to go there.
Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with humor. It's just that when you take it too far, and you don't take anything seriously, because if you remember, again, going back to Duel Monsters and even GX, Joey had his humorous moments. And there were times when during duels when he would crack a laugh or something like that. But that was because he was having so much fun, and because he was trying to off-put the suspense that he was feeling.
Yeah, but
because think about this. When he was dueling Merrick, there was that little moment where Joey plays that card, question, I think it is, where he forces Merrick to look at the bottom card, to guess which monster's at the bottom of his graveyard, and unfortunately I haven't been able to find that card at all, making me believe that it was created solely for that duel. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with duel created with duel-only cards, but there's that one moment where he plays question and it forces Merrick to look at the monster that's at the bottom of his graveyard, and Merrick fails in doing so, and he gets to summon Jinzo, and that completely turns the duel around. But what happens between those moments is priceless, in my opinion, because what happens is Merrick is trying to within the dub, Merrick is trying to think of which monster he destroyed, and he has all these flashbacks and stuff, and then Joey starts making these snotty remarks to him, like, "Come on, are you scared? The worst that can happen is you guess wrong and I crush ya."
Yeah, but Yuya tries too hard to get people to laugh. He tries too hard to be funny, and it just isn't. And he failed horribly at it. And he didn't attack. He doesn't attack. He doesn't do anything. And the duel is called off, and he falls flat on his face. And he gets up and still tries to make a fool out of himself by making a ridiculous face, trying to get the kid to laugh.
Because the thing is, again, going back to Joey, it's like, okay, there was that moment of humor, and honestly, that made me burst out laughing when I was a kid, because of how because of the tonal shift. But what happens after? What happens after that? After that humorous thing? Immediately after the humor, and Merrick's, then again, he didn't really guess. I guess the time just elapsed. But Joey immediately gets back to business. He's like, well, guess what? You guessed wrong, so I get to summon Jinzo. Like that. Jinzo like that, because he stopped the humor right then and there, and just went back into serious mode. With Zexal and Arc V, there is no seriousness being taken into account. There are serious moments, but they're too few and far between. Yeah. And I'm just hoping that V-Range isn't like that. I'm hoping that we can get back to a balance of seriousness and humor, like Duel Monsters GX and somewhat less with 5Ds had.
Yeah, and from what TGI Anime was saying, it looks like it's going to take a more monotone, more serious tone.
Which I'm hoping they really do. I'm really hoping that TV Tokyo looks back into its past at the other footage that it owns and realizes what made this franchise so great in the first place.
Yeah, and we get to really see Yu-Gi-Oh! Back, kind of take it more shift back towards a Duel Monsters kind of stance, and it'll start off calm and normal in the beginning, but we can tell, but somewhere along the line, it should get more serious, more darker, and more intense as it goes on.
But yeah, guys. So also I kind of hate to break my schedule, but I'm actually gonna upload this today. Today, as opposed to doing it on Monday or Tuesday, since that's when he's leaving. But so another thing that I wanted to talk about, though, actually no, I think I'll save it for another video. But because I launched a poll to Twitter to the entire Yu-Gi-Oh community, at least the people that I follow, asking them this. Let me just wait for it to load up here. Okay, so I uploaded this because while I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything's video, he brought up why 4 stopped dubbing he brought up why 4Kids stopped dubbing 5D, GX and 5Ds, and 5Ds was because of a lawsuit, but GX's is a little more confusing. Because well, if I'm remembering this correctly, I believe Dylan said that GX couldn't complete its dub, because they were rushed to dub 5Ds, and because the thing is, evidently, GX ended in 2008, and well, it ended sometime before April in 2008, and 5Ds started airing in April of that year. And by the time, and Dylan makes it very clear that by the time they would have finished dubbing GX, it would have taken 25 weeks, and they would have been at least a year behind on 5Ds. So they wanted to rush it. In my opinion, that was a very big mistake, because if you think about it, like, although granted season 4 was a lot darker than what we've previously seen, but I think they would have made it work. They could have made it work, because, like I brought up in my previous video, they should have finished dubbing it. Like, they should have done it after Bonds Beyond Time, because by that point there was no such a thing as an edited dub anymore.
Yeah.
Although granted there was still such a thing as censorship, but
Hello, back at it again.
But yeah. So basically the post included this. At Yu-Gi-Oh! Memories, at BYG Agami, at Dimsy's Domain.
Okay.
Do you guys think 4Kids should have dubbed Season 4 of GX? And while that wasn't really a poll, that was more or less a post, because I was hoping to get the responses, and I was also hoping to include them in the video that I would be dropping soon. But right now we're going to give our opinions on whether or not they should have dubbed it. Starting with him.
I'd say they should have dubbed it. At least then we would have gotten this. We would have gotten to see. At least we would have gotten to see what happened in that season, and at least got to see the duel between Yugi and Jaden.
That was, oh my gosh, I would have loved to see that dubbed. But because, I mean, season 4 was a lot darker than the previous seasons, but at the same time, they did darker stuff before.
Yeah.
And it's not like it would have been too consuming of their time. I mean, granted, yeah, 25 weeks is a while, but at least after you got done with that time, you would have a complete product to show to everyone. And I mean, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. I don't know, but they should have also finished dubbing 5Ds too. Because 5Ds, if you guys don't know, actually beats GX with the most episodes not dubbed. Because while GX left a complete season not dubbed, which isn't really bad in the grand scheme of things, 5Ds left the final episode of season 3 not dubbed, and then the entirety of I believe the entirety of season 4.
Yeah, I believe so.
I could be getting stuff mixed up, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, so 4K Media, if you're watching this video, please finish dubbing GX and please finish dubbing 5Ds, and you would have millions of dub fans bowing down to you.
What are they treating him like God?
I don't know. But I mean, at least in my opinion, that would be. I mean, that'd be what happened. That'd be what happens. I mean, for people that actually care about the dubs of GX and 5Ds, we would have loved to see that. That's what I'm trying to make here. Okay, guys, so that wraps it up for this video, and again, this is Jules' last video, so at least for now.
But I'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back later. So, buddy, thanks a lot.
It's been an honor.
Okay, guys, so that wraps up this video, like I said. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below on whether or not on what your opinion is on purism, the dub of season 4, the dub of the rest of 5Ds if they ever made it. Let's get a discussion going if you guys want. Anyway, see you guys later.
Dragon throw out.